Well, it's not the best lighting in the world, but my face ain't nearly as pretty as it used to be, and it never really used to be what it used to be, so not that important. Anyway, yeah, we all see the posts, and I can't speak for anybody else, but to say I feel your pain is a little presumptuous because only you do, you know. But I do got the whole dad instinct going ape shit. By the way, I'm videoing this because I'm like, okay, you know what? I feel like I may have something useful here. And if I don't, I don't. But I'm just going to ramble on my thought here a little bit. I'll try not to ramble too much. But, you know, valid, invalid, all feelings are invalid. They're feelings. They're not the same thing as thoughts. But I know what you mean. You know, the thing is, I've known a lot of guys that go through stuff like this. Suicidal thoughts, not wanting to go on. And I've had a lot of moments where I did a lot of good. I don't know that I've ever found a way to be particularly useful for a female. Maybe once or twice whenever I had a lot of time with that person. A lot of time. The reason I said that I struggle with this is because I'm fascinated. I'm not going to make this about me, I promise, okay? Any more than it has to be for my point of reference. I'm fascinated by female psychology, you know, and I might even go so far as to say that I understand the female mind better than most guys that you know on an academic level. But that's not really worth shit when it comes to this, because no matter how much time I've spent on this, it's hard for me to connect. It's hard for all men to, by the way. I hope I might just direct this at you, whatever, you know, so that other people, because I'm sure that there's, you know, a screech brigade out there that's going to be like, ow. The fact is, we're not motivated by the same things on account of the fact that you're a girl, I'm a guy. Okay. So it's hard for me to work in a useful way through that barrier. Even though I understand academically what motivates a girl in life. When I talk to a guy in this situation, because I want you to know, this really goes out to me when I see this stuff. Because you got a kid. Now, it's easy for me to say to a guy, motherfucker, you're not allowed to die. It sucks you're not happy. I've been there plenty of times in my life. Sorry about your luck, but you're not allowed to check out till your kid is out there on his own, her own, taking care of themselves. But obviously, that's that duty mentality that most men, I hope, can relate to. It's different for a girl for different reasons. Yeah, you understand duty. Otherwise, you would possibly not even be here, you know. But I am very prepared for this to not come to anything useful other than, but maybe it will. This is going to be Mayor ranting again, just like you probably heard me do when I'm at a party here and there with other people. Might have even had a moment with you at that last one. By the way, linear thought, my brain goes on side quests. A lot of people are like that, but I can be really bad. I'm going to try not to do that. My wife, who does not surface to see the outside world very much, has introduced me to a lot of thought about how women think and whatnot. Things that kind of most people notice, but to what extent? And I don't want to pretend like I know what's going on with you exactly. You know, I'm not trying to pretend to be some guru that's got the answers. I already admitted that Best I can do is run my mouth, word vomit, whatever thoughts I have on this, let you know that I care enough to do this. And hopefully you'll find something in it you can use. Okay. I'm not going to talk too much about men and women, but I have to touch on a few things. A lot of stuff like social acceptance. Men and women both, that's important, but it's not as important to a guy as it is to a girl. This is why girls tend to gossip more than others. It's an evolutionary thing, and I don't want to get too academic about this. But I find that this is something that tends to, either because of trauma in the past that had to do with social situations, it can be family, it can be school, whatever, or something in the present. And I don't pretend to know, A, if that's even what this is, or B, if it's either of those things. But this is just me throwing this stuff out there. Women are more likely to kill themselves because they feel like their life is socially ruined. We've all seen it, and I don't have to tell you, you're a girl, Guys have done it, So, got away from me. Okay. It's not that your feelings are invalid or valid. It's just that they're feelings. That's the thing you're trying to fix, right? I mean, the feelings are what's... That's literally the problem with the engine being your head. We all got problems with our engine. Some of it's self-induced. Okay. I know about you. I know about me. But that's besides the point. I got on this life myself. And again, this may not be something that you can apply. Maybe it is. I stopped trying to be happy when I accepted that happiness is not something that you should be aspiring to. Maybe you don't. Maybe you did and you gave up. Now, don't get me wrong. You shouldn't want to be miserable all the time, because your life has something that you got to do. In your case, that's pretty direct. You got a kid. Now, mine's 22, lives with me on a contractual, for lack of a better word, arrangement. Love the boy dearly, but I'm going through an existential crisis here myself. I've never told anyone about this. This might, that's been my purpose almost my entire adult life, starting at age 25. I didn't find what the hell I'm on this earth for. All of a sudden, I find out, a strange look in my then girlfriend's eyes. Did you get enough sleep? I thought she was going to nag me for, sleeping too long when I needed to go look for a job. And then when I said, yeah, and I looked at her and she started crying. And I'm like, fuck, you're pregnant. Well, okay. Never looks back. The point is, throughout a lot of that times, I had moments of happiness. Throughout all those times, I had a lot of moments of absolute misery. And I accepted it, because my feelings didn't matter. I had to do this. And I'm sure you have that thought a lot of times, because you clearly express, and I don't believe that somebody says this as much as you do and they're just doing it for attention. I'm sure there's a mechanism in your female brain that wants, because that's natural, okay, to be noticed doing it, and that might be the oil, the grease on the slide that brings it out a little bit, pushes it through the door, through the grease that pushes the thought, the words through the door. But I don't think you're doing this for attention. I think that you're stuck in a mental state, and probably a certain degree of physical one. But the thing is, more people seem to die now than they die. Suicides seem to be more common now than they were in gulags. Something's going on now. And I don't pretend to have the answers, but I do like to think that I figured a few things out. And one of those things was, yeah, happiness. It's a fleeting moment. I'd try to experience it whenever I could, knowing that whenever I did, it's a fleeting moment. It's going to go away. Things are going to be blasé, and I'm probably going to be like barely hanging on at some point. I think that's a term I used in there. I'm just going to keep it with that thought for now, because I don't want this to be a 45-minute video, because I am, once I start, and I keep going, and I never know when to shut up. And yeah, hey, I know I don't know you super good. Love you enough that I wanted to take the time to do this. I've actually wanted to take the time to do this for a while, and I'm making a video here just because, I don't know if you noticed, I have not been hammering at my keyboard very much in the last couple of weeks. I'm getting a little keyboarded out. And so I'm just going to do this. Anyway, just stop, if you were trying to be happy, don't. But don't try to be miserable either. Well, I don't know, maybe try that at some point. You know how, again, this just popped in my head. Again, I'm no self-help guru. I'm not. But, like when you're trying to stay awake is when you're the sleepiest, kind of like that shit. And then, my brain fucks with me whenever I try that shit, though. It goes, oh, yeah, well, I know you're just trying to, you're trying to fall asleep now. And I know that you're just trying to fight me and pretend, but you actually want to go to sleep. It's a pain in the ass having a head like mine. That's why I never got to fantasy role play and shit like that. I got that bullshit collar in my head, calling bullshit in my head, and every little thing. It never stops. Could be worse. Anyway, got away from me again. Can you tell the autistic guy in the room? Look, girl. Do little things here and there. Okay, this much I can say. Misery is, depression is an endorphins thing, is a hormone thing. And I'm not saying do this, but there's something I learned about suicide. People who jump off buildings. On the rare occasion that somebody jumps off of a building to kill themselves, halfway down, the ones that live to tell the tale, they all have the same thought. I learned this years ago in a psychology class I took after I got my good enough diploma and went to MCC in the 90s. I think that's where I learned this. And the first thing that I thought on the way down, that was stupid. I don't want to die. Well, they did want to die at the top. At the top of the building, they wanted to die. What changed on the way down? You're not thinking. You're in fight or flight. Only you're not falling. So what changed? Well, the teacher explained. The endorphins killed the misery halfway down. Now, again, I'm not saying go skydiving. I'm not even saying do something that involves falling. And I'm not saying jump off a building. Okay? But something that you don't usually do. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you do. I've only known you from the club and from the occasional party and posts on Facebook. But these are my thoughts, Amanda. And this is already longer than I wanted it to be. So, yeah. God willing, you find something useful in there.